right, everybody, we got Bongo ByTheWay here. He's a super producer, 4-time Grammy nominated producer, Grammy winning. He's worked with everybody in hip hop and even past hip hop. Ty Dolla $ign, Kanye, Justin Timberlake, Snoop, Future, Kendrick, Beyonce, The Game. I could keep going until I ran out of breath. So, man, had a crazy career. So I'm looking forward to hearing about it. But before we hear about what you've been up to lately, how'd you get into music to begin with?
Man, it's crazy that you even asked that, and I'm here right now. I actually came to just for one day to Providence, Rhode Island. This is like where I grew up a lot, like between Providence, Rhode Island and Jacksonville, Florida. I grew up out here, and this is really where I started doing and making music. And it's actually really crazy that you asked me that, because I'm in my childhood friend's house right now. His name is Lawrence, and I started making music, like me and him in the basement, just on a little Casio keyboard and a 4-track tape recorder. So it's between working, like me and my friend Lawrence and my brother, he was like super instrumental to me. Like he had me playing in church and had me like, just he always would introduce me and put me on the music and the stuff that really still resonates with me to this day. So I would definitely have to say, starting out music out here, this is what really gave me, it just gave me a start, being around the right people, being incubated in a way that I could focus on, like really just learning what I loved about music and then learning how to implement it,
Yeah, totally. I get that a lot. And I think just me personally too, I feel like older brothers or older cousins or, siblings, like, you look up to them. And then so when they introduce you to something, it carries a little bit more weight sometimes than, maybe a parent or just someone else off the street. When you get those people who you look up to giving you advice, it carries a little bit more weight. But that's cool, man.
Sure.
You're in the perfect, you're in
Yeah,
your
the
roots right now,
environment,
as you're talking about your roots. That's cool.
yeah. Right. Right.
But you were originally from Nigeria, right? And then you moved
Yeah.
to both Florida and Rhode Island. How old were you when you moved over?
I was young. I was like super young, like toddler age. But
Okay.
my parents, they're also like influential to me musically, and so indirectly Nigeria is too, because the rhythms, and then on top of that, the way that they sing. My parents harmonized in the house a whole lot when they would sing, and they like they're they're devout Christians. And so they would always be singing like hymns in the house. And my father has
Right.
this rich, deep baritone voice, and my mom has like this high voice. And I would just hear the dynamics of how they would sing with each other. So yeah, definitely not like through them and in my family and just the culture. Nigeria definitely is just a huge impact on my life, sound, and everything, really.
Yeah, so you got the older brothers influence, you got the parents and the church influence in the music, and you're at your friend's house, so you guys used to record stuff. Because I know you play multiple instruments. How did like? What was some of the first stuff you picked up? Was it like a bass, or were you making beats first, or what was? How did it start?
My first instrument was actually percussion. So so bongos. Like I would even play on the pots and pans in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then when my brother would play in church, my brother is really like one of the really rawest musicians that I know. Like he plays more instruments than I do. He plays bass, piano, violin, saxophone, organ, drums. So at church, he would play the drums, or he would go back and forth between playing drums or keyboard or bass. And then I was super young, so I just play the bongos. Just
Yeah,
getting where I fit in.
totally. I mean, you started real young, because I know you got into music like when you were like what, 7 or something like that, and then
Yeah.
you got your first major placement on a Music Soul Child track when you were only
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
So you were really doing it real young, huh?
Yeah. It's crazy. I feel like, you know, a lot of the new generation of kids and people, a lot of kids are like starting even younger than I did, which is like beautiful to see. But yeah, from when I was coming up, that was like very young. But like I said, I have that to contribute to my surroundings. Like I was saying, my boy Lawrence and my boy Roger, and my boy John Hope. Like we would just be like chilling in the basement, and I would like work on them and do whole albums with them. You know,
Yeah.
so it kind of like
Wait,
it started young, but it was because of like all the stuff that I had around me. You know.
yeah. Did you always kind of feel like you wanted to be kind of the guy behind the guy, the producer? Did you like making the music and then were you just like reaching out and finding people around you to maybe do the top line, the vocal or on top of it?
No, I actually started rapping like when I was 8 years old. I would write raps. My brother had me listening to like The Roots, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Slum
Yeah.
Village, like real underground, but like real lyrical,
Yeah.
conceptual artists. So I started rapping, and then at some point I realized I can't rap to other people's beats because that's their beat, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
I was like, I'll start making my own beats. And that was around like 10, 11 years old. I started making beats. And it was really just so I could rap over. But then meeting and then like when I started getting older, I would meet like Roger, like some of my brother's friends who also did music, and they kind of realized, oh wow, he's actually kind of dope. Like, so then we went and started going to the studios. But yeah, the reason why I started making beats was because I started rapping, and it took over because I realized, yeah, I rap and I make this, but also like my brothers, when I'm riding in the car with him, he might be listening to Stevie Wonder or some Brazilian bossa nova jazz or something, and I'm like, I want to make that stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to just put myself in a box. So I started producing other things that my boy Lawrence, who I was talking about earlier, he sang. So that made me also want to like do R&B stuff because we were big on D'Angelo and Bilal, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
growing up, so I had a lot of those different influences that made me want to explore different sonics, and that
Yeah.
made me love production more than rapping. But I still maintain a lot of those like tools to like for songwriting, you know what I'm saying? So when I'm in
Yeah.
with a rapper, I can like go, bar for bar, I could then freestyle with them and go back and forth just because I still have that in me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And that's good for a producer to have that in you because then
yeah,
you can make suggestions and you know what to do with the vocal.
right,
So
right.
how did you, because like I said, you got attention pretty early on. Obviously you said you had some great influences around you, but how did you catch the attention of some of these bigger artists, early on? How were you getting your stuff out there? How were you getting it heard?
Um, just just working, man, and the grace of God, really, like God really connecting the dots with people because um originally, like I worked a lot with my cousin C4 coming up, and we would be in Atlanta, like interning at studios, like cleaning
Yeah.
up the bathroom and like running the PF Chang's in rush hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and shout out Drew Castro. He was very instrumental. Drew and Alex, they had this studio called Music House in Atlanta, and that's where we went, and that was our first kind of like okay, we're in this thing, like okay, like this is a real studio. We see plaques, there's rooms, there's booths, there's mixing boards. Okay, cool, we're outside of the bedroom. and and being able to see that and see how he worked. Drew was actually instrumental in me getting that first placement with Music Soul Child,
Hmm.
and then also um, the Grammy with Lecrae, my first Grammy with Lecrae, because he was in the mix, like he was in the mix, like
Yeah.
everybody was coming to the studio, and we were able to like see how he put things together, and he was a person that didn't just like say things, and like he got stuff done. You know, he would actually, he got Grammys and plaques too. So it was just like it was dope to kind of like see that, and that was very instrumental in just me being able to get some stuff off the ground and be like, okay, I'm still in college right now, but I got a music soul child placement. Oh yeah, I'm working at the car dealership, but I'm Grammy nominated. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
so like,
Hell yeah.
so shout out to Drew, man. Shout out to Drew. For real.
Yeah, I mean, I say it all. I've said it for years. Like internships are like real world experience, and like you said, just being in the room, like it does a lot for your inspiration because you see someone doing it, you see how they're doing it, and then just the
Right.
flow of people who are coming through there. You get to you're meeting the right people, and it's and like part of, as they always say, part of it is who you know what I mean? And so you meet someone there and you work with them or they like your beat, sometimes it's just being in the room, like you said. Got to
Right.
have the talent. You got to have the talent as well, but talent
Thanks.
plus being in the right place.
Right. That's always how I felt. Like I've always felt like, I knew what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And it was just I guess the opportunities just catching up to, just being prepared and having all the opportunities catch up. I feel like that's like a blessing that I feel like I can walk into any room and I
Yeah.
feel like I'm ready now, so I can't complain.
100%. I feel like you've worked with so many epic artists. Like I would love to hear just like some I'd love to hear a couple stories or just or maybe a couple things about like how it was. I mean, because you've done work, and maybe I know with producing sometimes you're not always in the same room or consistently, but you've done work with Snoop and Future and Kendrick and Beyonce and Game and Ty
Yeah.
Dolla Sign. Do you have some favorite memories recently from some of the work you've done?
It's crazy. Everything just kind of like it's
I
like
know,
jumbled into like
I know it's a loaded question, but any
yeah.
funny stories, maybe any funny anecdotes from recently?
Um, man, there's so much stuff. Some things I can't even.
Right,
Some
I know.
things I can't. Yeah, some things I can't say. I'm trying to figure out something that I could, that'll work. I don't know. I've worked with a lot of, people who are considered legends.
Yeah,
One of the like dopest people to work with was Snoop, because
yeah,
you already know Snoop. He's like iconic, but he's like it's what I love is when people are like they line up with I don't want to say with what you expect but what you come to know, but he's an authentic person, and he's real funny, but he's also like he'll give you real gems. And I was in the studio with him, and Timbaland was there, my boy Bruiser was there, and I think we were working on something that ended up coming out, and Timbaland and Snoop are just like giving me like life lessons, like life gems.
yeah,
And then, but you know how Snoop like smokes,
yeah.
like he's like, I swear, I never saw him once without a lit blunt in his hand, and it never. It's always. It's always like a full blunt. Like I know he's smoking these whole things, but then I looked over and I realized that there was someone in the corner with a huge jar of weed, and they were just rolling blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt after blunt. And so they're giving me this life story, and then the whole room is just getting smoggy, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, yo, this guy does not stop. He's
Yeah.
one of the realest. But it was crazy. It was just a lot to take in all at once. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, Snoop, Timbaland, like two of the greatest to ever do it, and to
Yeah.
ever be in the game. So it's like taking that all in, but then like, just being around a cloud of smoke
Yeah.
and then
That's
just
a
realizing, yo, there's is an assembly line of blunts
Yeah.
just in, in
He opens up his
circulation.
jacket. He's got like a whole like string of them or something.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
that's
love that.
awesome, man. I mean, to be in a room with Snoop and Timbaland and it's just getting boxed and they're just dropping life lessons. I mean, I've heard that story so many times and it just must be true that I mean how crazy it is how much he smokes, you know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
I've heard, you know, Dave Chappelle had a whole bit about it. You know, I recently just there's this social media comedian is I think his name's Haha Davis and he just had
Yeah.
he
From
did a bit
Chicago.
with Snoop. Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he just did a bit. He always has that like inner monologue, like these inner
Yeah,
monologue
yeah.
videos, and he's just like,
He said,
"This
I was
guy's still going."
flabbergasted.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's still going, and he's like throwing the blunts away. Like Snoop keeps giving them to him,
Oh,
and he's like
I
hiding them.
did, I
Yeah,
did see that. He was
yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So that's epic, man. That's I mean that's a bucket list story right there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Be in a room with Snoop doing that. So that's awesome.
yeah. I just wanted him to call me nephew once. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I got
exactly.
that, so I'm good.
Oh wow, yeah, that's like being knighted.
Right, right, right. Uncle Snoop. But
Well,
yeah, no,
well,
man.
Bongo. I mean, like I said, you've worked with everybody. What's coming up? Because I mean, you've you know, Grammy winning platinum recording producer. You know, you've worked with everybody, and so I mean, you're killing it. What do you have coming up?
I'm excited for what's next. I mean, I'm still working with a lot of the people that I hold near and dear, and then there are also a lot of like new artists that are coming up that I'm like super excited for. Like a lot of them, like even Ant Clemens, like that's my brother. Like he's like he's a star, and he's such an amazing singer, artist, songwriter. He still writes some amazing records for other people too, but I'm excited for him as an artist for people to really like dive into him, because there's a lot of things that he brings to the game that I've been missing, and I feel like it takes an individual who's not scared to do what they really love and make the music that they really love, and for that stuff to cut through. So I'm super excited for you to hear the stuff that we've been doing, like even the joint with Justin Timberlake, um, Better Days. Like
Yeah,
there's not a lot of young artists that can, have fun, but then do a record like that that's like meaningful and impactful, and has that level of depth to it without being corny or
yeah.
reaching. So, and he's definitely one. Man, Björnick, if you heard it here first, this she's amazing. She's from Chicago, Southside Chicago. She's a singer, R&B. She does R&B. Her voice is amazing, and her story is crazy. So I was blessed to be able to work on her whole project. Shout out PZ, Hitco, ATS, everybody. But she's amazing. She's with Silent Co now. They're about to gas her shit up, and I'm excited for y'all to hear this project. I don't even want to give the name out of the project yet, but Björnick, her name is spelled BJRNCK. BJ
All right.
BJRNCK, Björnick. So she's everything about it is crazy, and the music is crazy. So I'm big on, like, obviously, like, man, I'm still locked in with Ty, Jeremiah, Anderson, Pac, everybody. Like, I'm super excited about. I got some stuff with Anderson Pac that's crazy.
Nice.
Corday, you already
Oh
know
yeah.
Corday is superstar, man. Just next level leader of the new school. Like, so I'm locked in with we got the usual suspects, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm really trying to make sure that we invested in the future, and making waves for the next level of, like, the next great ones.
Yeah. Well, I love that you are working with so many legends, living legends, and just chart topping superstars. But I love that when I asked you what you're excited for, you know, you dropped kind of the not as well known people yet, the up and comers first, because I love that you're excited about that, and you're definitely someone who we can trust to know what's hot because you're doing it all day. So we'll definitely check that out, and looking forward to everything that you're putting out. We like to end the interview by asking if you had one piece of advice for aspiring artists, what would it be?
Well, what I always say, like my mantra is dream, build, prosper. And what that means is like dream, like realize what your what makes you tick, realize what your passion is. And dream, build, you have to take the next step to really like dive into it, figure out what it is, how it is that I'm going to like if this is what I love and this is what I want to wake up doing every day, how do I make a living out of it? How do I make the connections to I know I'm with the right people, I'm doing the right things, or I'm climbing the ladder the right way. So just dream, build, and then prosper is just walking in that life that you envision for yourself. And I feel like it goes to any work, any field of life. But for me in music, like that's how it's been. It's always been like the process of actualizing this dream. When I was 8 years old, I didn't know how I would make money doing this. I couldn't even conceptualize it. But holding on to that dream until I was able to build on it for real and build the relationships and build my craft. And then now I feel like I'm still building, I feel like building is a constant thing, and prospering is just, and being able to walk in it and pay it forward and pay it backward, pay it back to the people that helped you get to the space, and then paying it forward and like investing in the next generation. And that's with every walk of life, any job, any career, like it's the same thing. So dream, build, prosper. That's my gift.